Now first we should add capabilities to save a favorite, retrieve favorites, and delete the favorite, and also to see if that item is favorite or not. So as you know, we are not using any local database and not making any network calls. That can be part of a intermediate or advanced course. I just want to show you how things are done in Flutter. So let's create some more functions that will be it would be a local memory. It would be app memory basically. It won't be making any network calls or not be saving into any database. So we will create first function that will be our event. This will be called when we press on the bookmark icon. So when we press here, the bookmark icon, this function should be called, and it should be called with a delay. Of course, it should be called with a delay because sometimes you might want to make a API call. So I'm considering the worst case that you are not saving it in local, but even though if you're saving in local, to interact with IO operations, you need to add await, right? So this case is pretty general when you have API call or some local database call where you will have a future there. So I will create a small memory here, which will be just a set of event, and we will call this as favorites, and it will be just a simple a set in Dart. Okay, and this is how you create a set. Now what I will do is I will take this favorites, because I'm keeping it set because I don't want duplicates. So when I click on it, I want to delete it from there. And let's call add and insert event here. So this is my save function. Similarly, I can have a delete function. So this delete function will just remove the event. Fine. And similarly, I can have another function which tells me whether it's favorite or not, because when we land in this screen, we want to make it filled with color, so that it tells that it is a favorite. So we will say that if favorite contains that event, then it's a favorite item. And finally, for the favorite list, we want to populate this with list items, right? Event items. So we need to get list of events from here. So what we'll do, we will just tell that let's return list of event, and get favorites will be the function name, and here we will return just the favorites. That's it. Great. And we'll convert it to list. So this is how these 4 events are now created. These 4 functions are now created. Now we don't have to deal with repository. What next we will do? I will introduce Cubit here to maintain the state of bookmark, and later we will see that Cubit is not enough for this case. But I want to inform you, I want to explain that scenario where you start with Cubit and then later you realize that you need a block here. So how you will migrate to block? So this journey would be very interesting. So let's start that. We will start with the Cubit first of all. So in the event detail, we will create another folder. It doesn't matter what will be your folder name. Let's keep it block because eventually we are going to use block only. So here we will create a Cubit that would be event detail Cubit. And the beauty of Cubit is you don't need event and state here because it's not event based, it's function based. So you can simply define a class event detail Cubit, and that would extend Cubit. And what it will return? It will simply return a bool. Basically, it will tell us whether when I click on this, whether it is true or false, whether it is favorite or not favorite. So for that, we will just return 2 states from here. Basically, one type of a state, that is bool. So here in the initial state, let's also add a dependency because we will need to make API calls. We will need to make repository calls. So let's say event repository will be here, and then in the super we say that initially let's tell that it's false. Let's say that initially it's not favorite. Okay, then in final event repository we'll have this. Great. And now we will have a function that will tell us that we want this will be called when we click on this bookmark, this favorite, and it will be toggle favorite. So whether if it's favorite, we'll reply it with not favorite. If it is not favorite, we will make it favorite. So this is how the function will look like. We will first emit a state. So suppose initial state is false. Now when I click on this, I want to reply with not state, which means false will become true, and immediately this button will become black, let's say that. But in the background, what we will be doing, first I want to have this as false. So if it's false, then whenever toggle favorite is clicked, we make it we emit the true state, and we check whether if it's false, then we will do underscore event repository dot save repository, because it was made true, and in that case we supply this. And if else, we will say that just delete it. Okay, so delete favorite, and of course we need to have await here. That is it, I think. Next function would be a future. So basically void is favorite. Now we want this to be you can say this, if this function is non-asynchronous, it will just give me simple favorites if it contains or not. So let's say that this is a simple function where it doesn't care about anything, and it just gives me a bool variable from this contains whether it is true or false. So we'll just call this and we will say is favorite equals to event repository dot is favorite, and this is gonna give me a true or false. Whatever it is, I will just emit that and put it here. Not state, we will put is favorite as our state. Okay, so true or false will be returned from this function. Now we need to have this event detail qubit in our event detail page, and for that we will need to have an injectable added to it. Once we do this, we need to generate all our dependencies again. One was already running, so I will disconnect this one and keep this one running. So let's head on to event detail page, and let's wrap this event detail page with block provider. And in this, we will use create underscore, and then we will fetch it from get it event detail block detail qubit, event detail qubit. And then what we will do is we will immediately fire is favorite call with this event. What this will do is as soon as it is created, this will call is favorite, and this is favorite will help us to update the event section. Basically, if you go to event section, we will be having this icon that will tell us that we have to update this with the latest favorite value. So why not, let's wrap this in block builder, and it will be event detail qubit, and the state will be of bool type. This is how we write a block builder, and then it will be a stake. Let's say it will be directly is favorite. Okay, let's import this. Suppose if it is favorite, then our icon would be icons dot bookmark rounded, and if it's not favorite, then it would be the normal one which we have right now. So this is not a const, and then in the function itself we want to call that function toggle, right? So context dot read event detail qubit, and then add just call toggle. We are not adding event here, It's not block, it's a qubit. So yeah, I think the code is done. Let's just restart the application and see if we are able to mark it as a bookmark as for favorite or not. Let's go to domain driven and click on this, and it is marked as favorite. Within 2 seconds it would be marked a favorite in the memory as well, and when we go to favorites we have to display the favorite event here. So in that case what we can do is we can go to favorite, which is in the favorite page. Great. So instead of this we will be having a list view again. Let's say list view dot builder, and what we'll do, we'll just copy this list from event list and make it work here. Okay, so in here we can use block builder, but hey, we don't have any block for favorite, so we would need to create a block first here. So here as well we will go with a qubit first of all, and then we will see whether we require block or not. So let's create a folder called block, and let's create another file, favorite qubit. Yeah, and here similar stuff, favorite qubit extends qubit, and this is gonna give me list of event, right? Okay, the event has to be imported from repository. Import this library as well, and then declare a const favorite qubit, and it would have again the same event repository, which will have super, and we'll say empty list is the way to go here. Okay, empty list will be the list of events. At the start we will have final event repository. Great. Now we will have the function, let's say future of void, and then it will say onload. What this will do is this will fetch results, or it will fetch events from repository, get favorites. I don't think it requires event here, we did a mistake probably. Yep, so it doesn't require this. And going back to the favorite qubit, it will give me events, and then I will emit events from here. Great. So this is bare minimum qubit that we can write to load favorite qubits, right? Favorite events. So now let's wrap this scaffold again in block, first of all in block provider. Okay, we forgot one thing, we have to write injectable here and hit save so that it generates. It won't generate because it's error now, but leave it, it will be generated later. Create, then you have get it, and then you write favorite qubit, and on top of that you call its onload function. So let's first import all of these things because it's not able to auto suggest us because of this. Okay, onload. Onload was a private method, that's why we could not call it. Anyway, I think yeah, this is the onload function, and this will return us instance of get it. So great. Now here in the block builder we can have favorite qubit together with list of event. Great. And then we will have this. Then in the builder we will have context state, and then we can say list view dot builder or separated builder, very similar to what we have in the event list page. So let's go to event list and try to copy some of the parts. Going to event list page, and here we have event list. Here we have this list view dot separated. Let's try to copy that. Now since you have seen that we are having shimmer as well, so with qubit we will not have that functionality, and I'm going to talk about that after just showing you how to show favorites, and then we will talk about that. Okay, home navigation, we don't, yeah, we need it. So let's import this because we want to navigate back to event list from favorites, right? So we can have that. Now event item is something which is present in event list. Because it is now used in favorites as well and it is being shared between two features, let's refactor it and put it in a custom widgets folder. So where is our custom widgets folder? It's in the widgets. This is our custom widgets which are common across features. So let's move event item to widgets. Okay, and since we have moved it to widgets, let's also do one thing. Let's fix all our import statements as well. So it will be used in event list. So now there is no error or what? Same thing will be applied to event shimmer list or event, yeah, let's not worry about that. What is this? Organize imports, fine. Great, so event item is available here, but what about favorite? Okay, yes, now it's available. It might have taken some time to compile and understand the dependencies. So now our watcher should run basically. It has run and probably the instance is not there, of course, because now it will be there because we didn't run watcher first. So now see, whenever I restart the application, let's go to favorites. Yes, so this is the empty page. What we can do here best is, if there are no favorites, we can say if events is empty. Again, same stuff from event list page. Let's go to event list and show this. Okay, if events is empty, then show no events nearby. Let's say no favorite events. Okay, great. Now let's rerun this, and now we are in favorites. We have no favorite events. So you remember this, that every time this memory will be applied whenever we hot restart the application. So I am just restarting the application again, and we will go to main. The flow would be, first we mark the event as favorite, then we go back, and then we click on favorites. So we don't see any favorites here. I don't know why. Maybe now. Okay, so let me see why it's not working. Let's put it favorite qubit onload will be called. It will emit these events. Let's print these events. Okay, let's hot restart. So let's see whether favorites is even added to event is added to favorites or not. So I click on this bookmark, and then I go here, and then I click on favorites, and I don't have anything, and empty list is printed here. So which means that our event repository didn't work as expected, because maybe the event repository is injectable. Yes, so there are two different event repository instances, and for that matter we will have to make it lazy singleton. You know what happened there? In the event detail page, in the event detail qubit, the instance of event repository is different from the event repository instance that is there in the favorite qubit. Okay, because of that it didn't work. So now we will regenerate these dependencies, and we will restart the application. Now we will follow the same flow where I click on this event, I mark it as favorite, then I go back, and then I click on favorites, Yes, now I see. So basically now I have this event, and there was a loading time, there was 2 seconds delay which we added. That's all a different story. We will cover that in the next chapter. But the bottom line is, here I want to introduce a issue here. So if I go back, or if I go to event detail page from here, if I mark it as unfavorite, I wait for 1 or 2 seconds, I go back, and this is not refreshed. Why? So this is block to block communication or qubit to qubit communication that we will take in the next chapter. But there is one more issue that we want to handle, and solution is single, but the issues are two. So when we talk about tabs, if we have visited this tab, then it's already built. Basically, it's built. There are no favorite events. It knows that there are no favorite events. Now when we go to event list, and when we mark event as favorite, we come back, we go properly to favorites, still there will be no favorite event. The reason is, favorites page is already built, and we have done some operation on event detail page, but favorite page is not aware about that. So this is the problem, or not a problem, this is a use case that happens in your app many times, and for that you will need block to block communication. So in the next chapter we will see that we will first of all bring in the shimmer here, updating the favorite list from here itself, and we will be seeing the whole flow working fine. So in the next chapter it would be very important from concepts wise, so make sure you watch that.